The last cut in our cutting system is our heavy layering. Now, what that pertains to is a heavy perimeter. In other words, the perimeter is not cut real lightweight like we did with the light layering. It's a heavy perimeter, and it is a stationary guide. This first piece, if you decide to cut the first piece there, then you bring every succeeding piece to there. Now, it can be cut any way you want it, any length you want it. You could go as short bangs. If you decide that, then you bring each succeeding piece to that. You could even go down to here. If you don't want a lot of layering at the front, you can go to here, and then you just cut it, everything comes to there. But the main thing is the cutting guide is stationary, which means everything's cut at the same place, and the holding angle is over 90 degrees. Now, with Katie's hair, and here we have Katie, I'm going to be cutting hers, no bangs. She won't let me do that, and I didn't want to anyway. You would choose this haircut when someone just exactly like Katie, who has a really heavy texture to her hair, and she really doesn't want to go up here in the short layers, but she wants the look of a lot more layers than she has now. And I'm going to start her cut right about here so that when you look at her from the front when we're finished, all of this will be the same length, but she will have layers right in this area. Now, depending on where we start the cut, if I did it here, she would have the look of more layers, maybe even some bangs. But it's a stationary guide. Everything's cut right here. Now, what I'm going to do first, because the first thing we do with this cut is to establish our hanging length. And I believe Katie was going to allow me to take off probably about that much so that she has hair here, because she's 5'10", so she really looks good and she can carry longer hair, and she's certainly got the type of hair to do it. So here's the way I'm going to do this so that you see and you understand the stationary guide is what you get with this. I'm going to take everything to the back of her head, right to the back. We're combing everything to the back, and we're going to establish her hanging length in the back. Wow, I can just almost not reach around that. Now, all the way back, we're going to take it off right about here. We'll just take our shears and go in. Take that off and establish that length. Add a stationary guide, because everything was combed back and cut right here in one section. Now, once I finish the next cut, I'll section her off and I'll pare each slice down. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to comb Katie's hair. She parts her hair on this side, so I'm going to converge everything to here at a stationary guide by having her tilt her head over. This is my pattern for my haircut, and I'm just really cutting off a good bit of hair, so I have my pattern established, and to show you how we use this stationary guide. And then I'll section it off and cut it piece by piece. And I will have my larger scissors for this, because she's just got so much hair. Now, remember, Katie, we part on this side. If you don't part on the side, you would converge this to the middle center part of her head. Because she parts on the side, then I'm going to converge it to the side. Now, I want to look at a piece of hair in the front, bring it to the chin, pull it back up so I can cut this much. Now, that's the hanging length in the back, okay? So I know I need to cut this off. Have my big scissors here, Steph. Thank you. And I'm just going to cut on a little bit of a diagonal, which would leave the right side shorter than the left side. Now, that's merely a guide for her haircut, if I ever get through it. That's a lot of hair. Okay? We've established that line. Now throw your head all the way back up, Katie. Good, good. See, I've cut off a good bit of hair here, so it will relieve. I'll be able to go through it better. If I didn't touch it again, it would still be okay. I have my guide right in there. You see what I've got with just the little soft edges all around? But what I'm going to do, because I want her ends lightweight, we're going to section again, flat of the head. We're going to take a horseshoe shaping on the top, right about there. That's a lot of hair. You're going to love me after this, Katie. You're going to be lightweight. You'll think you lost weight. Section that off. I'm going to cut in the middle of the ear, or section in the middle of the ear. That's the hair that goes to the front. This is the hair that goes to the back. Now I have my pattern cut for my hair. This is basically going to be it. And if I were cutting Katie's hair in the salon, I could say, rest assured, you're not going to be any shorter. I have the hanging length. So what I'll do, let's have a nice clip here. Because her hair's so thick, this is a nice way to section it to work through the haircut. A nice horizontal section in the back. And I will have my 5.5 inch shear. Now let's just close this up a minute. Section it off, and I'm going to go through each piece of her hair and make sure that it's just soft and each end is cleaned up, not removing any more hair. And I just go through it like that. But you see how nice it is to take that much hair off, so you don't have to comb through as much hair. First of all, converge it to the center, and my line's pretty much cut for me to show me where to go, and just section it. Horizontal partings all the way up to the crown, and cleaning up each piece as I go. Still want her ends soft. Now, if we were going to cut Katie's hair with my shark tooth razor or any razor, I would still follow the same method of sectioning and parting and cutting. I'm just doing this with the scissors. So just cleaning up that line. You can see I don't have a lot of hair to take off because my line has actually been thoroughly cut for me. Just a little cleanup here, little point cutting, which will make her ends nice and soft. Now let's check the sides. You can see how fast this goes once you've cut that major first two cuts. Just checking this on the sides, cleaning up those sides. And we really did a really pretty color technique on Katie, so I'll explain that to you once it's dry and you can see it. Just picking up these sides. When I did this, that cut this way, over directed that hair, so we are assured we have enough length on the sides. If you were to do it straight forward and cut, you'd come up short here. So just to make sure that I had enough, I over directed and had enough length on the sides that I wanted. Now let's let the top down. And remember, we've already established her guide through the front from that one cut. All I'm going to do is go through and clean it up. Just going through, picking a piece. Her part is in this area. You see how much heavier it is on this side because I pulled everything to here and cut. So I'm just going through and I'm going to clean this up slightly so we have some nice movement in here. Point cutting every end so it's not real blunt on the ends. This is a wonderful haircut when someone has long hair, and especially hair that's very thick, although it can work on hair that's very thin and give the look of a lot of layers without layering the hair too much. You have the look of layers with heavy layering without having too many layers. What it means is the perimeter is left full. Okay, let's just continue to clean this perimeter. Clean up the other side. And Katie's got a nice amount of curve in her hair, so it's going to work great for this. Just go in, point cut those ends. Remember, I had a little extra hair on this side because I over directed because I didn't want to come up short. And this will really give her hair a lot. If you see her from the front, you'll think it's layered, heavily layered all over, because that's kind of the effect that it gives. Now the other thing that I want to do, I'm going to come back to her part, and I just want to walk these sections through, because remember, our hanging length is done around the front. Our hanging length is done in the back. So I just want to cross section this across the head form. We can see that, Craig. Yeah. And I want to just double check. I want to over direct this hair. Yep, we need a little bit cut off. I want to clean those edges. And I'll just take cross sections across the head form. Way over directed because I don't want to comb them forward. I want to over direct it so I don't go too short. Now once I get it up there, you see I just want to go through and clean those ends. There was a little weight there that I needed to take off. And I'll walk that through until I run out of hair. I probably won't even have hair on this section to cut. Nope, very little, very little. But I'm going to do the same on the other side. Now that's just paring it down, okay? When I cut it first, when I over directed and cut there, I took out a lot of that weight and I set up my pattern for the haircut. Now the other section will be right in here. I'm going to lift this up and I'm going to just clean this little line up. So make sure I have a lot of lightness across the head form. But the main thing here is to over direct this hair right in here. See, if I were to do this, look how much hair I'd take off. And that would be too much. So over direct it up and over. And then just go until we run out of hair. And clean that line up so she has nice amount of lightness around her face. All the way over, all the way up. Yeah, there's not much to do there, just very little. Okay, that's a lot of heavy hair cut off in a short amount of time. And it's accurate. So that's our heavy layering cut. Let's get her combed thorough so you can see it. You can already see even with the hair wet, you can see how that hair is going to fall, how the weight is off of it. When I come back, we'll show Katie on dry hair, and I'll show you how I do all the little tweaking and the little finishing. We'll dry her and then flat iron it so you can see all the little kinks out of it, and you can see the real shape where the heavy layering is done around the edges. We'll be right back. We're back with Katie's finished look, our high definition, oh, excuse me, let me start over, Greg. Okay, let me start again. I don't know why I'm saying on high definition. We're back with Katie with her finished heavy layering look, and let me turn Katie just a moment. You'll see that her perimeter was left nice and heavy. Not any layers in this area. Where the layers are around the front, starting from about right at the lower cheekbone down. So she has, from the look of Katie's hair from the front, you might think that it has a multitude of layers. This is where the heavy layering is terrific. It creates light layers around the face, going back to almost no layers in the back. Now this is wonderful on heavy hair like Katie's because it gives it some movement and some shine. Now here's what I want to tell you about her hair color. Stephanie used the mosaic method for the color splashing, and what she did, she used 3 different shades of our chocolate, the all nutrient chocolate. And I'm going to part Katie's hair in the back so you get a good look at this, because she used the level 4 chocolate in the back from about the occipital bone down, and she only used a 10 volume. Then on the area, the center part of the crown, using big zigzag partings, she used 20 volume with the level 5 chocolate. Then she worked on up to the front, and still making huge zigzag partings, she used 30 volume with the level 6 chocolate. So you can see it has a real nice transition from the light, a little darker, and the darkest in the back. It really comes out very natural looking, almost like, you know, Katie's been at the beach for a while sunning. So, and it really conditioned the hair fabulous. And that is our chocolate look in 3 different shades, using 3 different developers with it. Now, I want to finish up her haircut, because once I have it dried out and flat ironed, I can see that I still have a little weight in some places. So I just want to go in, just a little slide cutting in there, and lighten up those ends just a little more. And by doing that, you can see exactly where you need it. If you want to go in here and just slide cut and point those little ends a little bit just to lighten it up, that's not removing any more length than I have allotted here, but it just lightens those ends up a little bit. This is done after the haircut's dry and you've had the flat ironing in there, so that you don't have any little curves that you don't want. And so you have to consider that. The same thing on this side. That's a little bit blunt, so we're going to go in and point cut a little more. And this should always be done on dry hair. Your client can see that you're finished and you're not taking any more length off, but you're just really defining what you've already done. And to really finish it up, just go in, pull the ends of the hair. If there's a little bit of weight in there you don't want, just take it and do a little sliding right on the ends of the hair to lighten it up a little bit more. And you can see the versatility and the use of this heavy layering on long hair, because even though someone has long hair, they still want a style in it. And this is a really good one to have the feel of a lot of layers, and yet the whole head is not layered. So just around the face, that's our heavy layering cut, and you can see what a wonderful cut on Katie's hair.